Welcome again to my review mini-series. Today I want to talk about MacBook Air M2, specifically about basic 8GB RAM and 256GB SSD drive model, as this one here. I want to sum up all pros and cons after 1.5 years of usage and check if this machine is still relevant. Of course, from power user perspective. Let's get right into it.
Power user.
With MacBook Air M2, Apple introduced a new casing design. That's a big improvement over old wedge-shaped M1 MacBook Air. Not only is it visually more modern, but also introduced a few more improvements. Starting from the outside, we've got a brand new flat shape that makes MacBook even more thinner and lighter. A lot of people were complaining about this new shape, but when you see it in person, it just feels better. Display also got modernized. Thanks to the new thinner bezels, the display is larger and corners got rounded. And for the first time, Apple added a notch in MacBook with a new 1080p camera. Being honest, neither rounded corners nor notch don't bother during the work or watching content. After some time I just stopped paying attention and got used to them, like an iPhone. Hope that in the future we can have Face ID introduced in MacBook as well. Under the screen we can notice a new aluminum bar instead of glass. It was common that old glass design cracked easily. Glad they improved it. I also have to mention the gorgeous midnight color. It's even more attractive than new black MacBook Pro in my opinion. I love the way how the color changes depending on lighting. And here we have a first few disadvantages. Although this color is stunning, it smudges tragically. Even delicate touch can mark smudge on this aluminum body. If you choose this color, you have to remember to carry a cleaning cloth together with your MacBook as well. Another problem with midnight variant is the rubbing paint. The paint rubs off gradually with time around the ports and can even rub off from MagSafe cable. Under the dark paint we have a regular aluminum color and every damage or scratch is going to show it off. The fantastic 4K IPS-like display called Liquid Retina Display surprised me with rich color palette, covering 99% of DCI-P3 color space and has a peak brightness up to 1600 nits. It's just perfect for watching content and working with visual medium like photography or video. One problem that bothers me is the fact that the space between display and keyboard is such small and causes a lot of trouble. The most visible one is the way how keyboard imprints itself on the display. Sometimes it's easy to clean it with a common cleaning cloth, but sometimes it's impossible with the regular methods. It reminds me of similar classic 3DS situation when every console had the lower display imprinted on the upper one. I'm going to create a separate video where I'm gonna try to clean it with the official Apple polishing cloth dedicated for Retina displays and compare it to the other products. Stay tuned for that. The bigger issue starts when something gets inside this gap. It happens really often, and before closing the device you have to make sure a few times that anything is not lying there. Why? In the best case scenario you end up with a small but permanent dent on the screen, like mine here from a tiny grain of sand or something. In the worst case scenario, your display could be cracked. And yes, a lot of people are facing this problem when not paying attention while closing the lid. My last accusation for this new body design is that it squeaks. How is it possible in unibody design? You tell me. Not everyone is facing this issue, but I found a few threads online complaining about it. Someone suggested to unscrew the bottom cover and screw it again. Is it going to help? Expect the video from this operation in the near future. Okay, how is the battery performance after all this time? Honestly, it's quite great. My MacBook Air M2 stands several hours workflow that includes managing social media, video editing and working with Photoshop projects every day. I never saw another machine that could last as long on one battery charge as this device. During the recording of this video, my battery health after 1.5 years of usage stands on 92%. As we know, all batteries degrade over time, and I find this result really good. And as we talk about the performance, I have a confession to make. It's hard to say it, but I was wrong. In my review video of this device, I said that this MacBook overheats when rendering 4K videos, and that was unfair. After this review and over a year of everyday working, this device overheated not even 5 times in this whole time of usage. Previous extensive heating was strictly connected with DaVinci Resolve, and after a software update, they were completely gone. Even if I put a more complicated task to render, M2 MacBook Air does it slower, but never warms up dangerously during this process. Outside render situations, I never approach overheating issue. Sure, the temperature sometimes gets higher when charging, but it's never unsafe to touch. And watching large tech channels complaining and in some cases even pretending to fix non-existing issue is just ridiculous. Not only that, but I was also wrong about Apple silicon chips. Sure, maybe M2 is not as powerful to do professional work, but next generations of Apple processors as M2 Ultra and M3 Max proved that they can equal beefy PC graphic cards in professional work, needing significantly less power and taking less space. In my video about gaming on macOS, I was wondering what will be Apple's take on gaming in the future, and the answer is of course ARM technology. Basic M2 processor is a really decent piece of tech, featuring 8-core CPU and 8-core GPU that has close Geekbench score as GTX 1060. This is amazing score for such small and fanless design. M2 chip is easily going to be sufficient for the next years. M2 MacBook Air is still a fantastic device, and it's more than enough in this price tier. I definitely recommend it for everyday usage, and I'm not planning to switch from this device for a long time. However, if you're planning to edit video or photography, consider getting 16GB RAM model. It would make your life just easier. That's all for today. Hope that this video helps you with choosing a laptop for Christmas or near future. You can also see my full review of MacBook M2 Air in upper right corner, or click the link in the descriptions below. Stay tuned and see you next time.
And today's sponsor is Power User. Power User is a fantastic YouTube channel about everyday modern technology. You can find their reviews, unboxing, shorts, and of course, a lot of interesting videos. The content is very informative and solid, and you should definitely check it out. Go and subscribe now.